On the news tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari appoints 4 non-executive directors for Central Bank of Nigeria. In business, AMCON recovers 731 billion naira from bank debtors nationwide. And on the foreign scene, Indonesian Muslim leader sentenced to death over 2016 suicide attack. Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on Superscreen's News Tonight. I am Adenike Oweye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of 4 non-executive directors for the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The Permanent Secretary Government of the Federation, Olusegun Adekunle, disclosed this in a statement made available to journalists today. According to the statement, the new appointees are Adeola Adetunji, Mike Obadan, Justicia Nabuko, and Umu Ahmed Jalingo. Adekunle said the appointments are for initial period of 4 years with effect from June 7. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says violent extremism and terrorism in African countries are interlinked with human trafficking, drug trafficking, illicit trade in drugs, arms, and other forms of transnational organized crimes. Osinbajo disclosed this while declaring open the 7th meeting of Ministers of Defense of member states of the Community of Sahel-Sahara States in Abuja. The Vice President said the security challenge within community has assumed a new dimension since the Arab Spring with the collapse of Gaddafi regime in Libya.
People whose ancestors made a comfortable living off the land and water as farmers and fishermen are now confronted with displacement and vastly diminished opportunities. In acknowledgement of this nexus, the Nigerian government is spearheading a collective plan to recharge the Lake Chad with water from the Congo Basin by constructing a 2,500-kilometer navigable channel from the river Ubangi. Besides, there have also been the Sharm el-Sheikh Declaration of 2016 by the Community of Defense Ministers of CENSAC, which reinforces the cooperation of member states in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism, and the Cocody Declaration, which addressed, inter alia, the control and regulation of the movement of small arms and light weapons through the borders of member states. This is not a battle for militaries and intelligence agencies alone. If it were, there would be no serious cause for alarm. This is a fight that cannot and will not be.
Reacting, Minister of Defense Dan Ali said communities need to address inter-area control and regulation of the movements of small arms and light weapons through the borders of member states.
This initial focus, due to the geographical location of our nations, of the Community of Sahel-Saharan states contiguous to the Western Europe, the Sahel-Saharan space is constantly being subjected to strong migratory turbulences. Additionally, it has become the place of most intra-African conflicts and sanctuary of the continental jihadist movement, making it the most endemic region in Africa for violence and instability.
Minister of State for Defense Dan Ali speaking there. The Department of State Services, DSS, has arrested a senator representing Abia South in the Senate, Eyinaya Abaribe. Abaribe was arrested in Abuja at a popular hotel located at Maitama District. We will bring you details as the story unfolds. The National Assembly has justified the changes made on the 2018 appropriation bill, saying the projects and votes in the 2018 budget were rejected with intentionally. The Joint National Assembly Committee on Media and Public Affairs that disclosed this, said injections done on 2018 budget estimate were done to correct imbalance done by the executive in sharing the national resources.
The number of projects had to be increased in order to give a sense of belonging to every geopolitical zones of the country, to ensure socio-economic justice, equity, fairness, and to command national loyalty. The President emphasized to the nation the urgent need to develop our human capital, which are our people and especially the youths. It is on this note that the National Assembly should be commended to the degree that most of the human development projects were captured in the budget by the legislature. Nigerians should note that due to the back and forth that we have experienced in the past, the improvement of the budgetary process should be a higher priority than trading blames. This trading of blames and unnecessary scapegoating is not healthy, as it creates needless conflict between the two arms of government. Finally, in order to ensure that all capital projects in the 2018 budget receive their necessary financing in the 2018 budget, we call on Mr. President to present the borrowing plan to the National Assembly so that we can approve it. We therefore want to urge all executive appointees to ensure that they brief Mr. President with the truth and facts of their engagement to promote healthy and harmonious relationship between the executive and the legislature.
The lawmaker said allegation made that the National Assembly increased its budget is not limited to the legislature, but to the three arms of government.
Very clear that the three arms of government benefited from the increase, which was mutually agreed on with the Ministry of Budget and Planning. In fact, we have correspondences addressed to the leadership of the National Assembly from Ministry of Budget, making requests on how to spread the increment arising from the benchmark differentials. It should be noted that the budget of the National Assembly as at 2014 was 150 billion, which is still 10.5 billion more than our current figure, despite increased national challenges that requires frequent public hearings held on almost a daily basis at high cost and intense oversight, which has become more thorough and incisive in order to check the executive. The 139.5 billion budget of the National Assembly represents less than 1.5% of the entire 9 trillion budget. Does it not make sense to use 1.5% to protect the other 98.5%? The public should note that this increase in the legislature's budget was also necessitated by the drastic inflation of the last 4 years. The need to rehabilitate the National Assembly deteriorating facilities, like the elevators, you can see it around when you're coming up, which shut down almost weekly, spending hundreds of millions to procure diesel to constantly power the entire complex, and the need to immediately upgrade the security facilities of the complex.
And in a related development, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udo Udama, says some of the changes made to the 2018 budget by the National Assembly is achievable. The minister, who gave a breakdown of the sources of revenue during a public presentation of the 2018 budget in Abuja, said crude oil would contribute 41% increase of total revenue for the budget.
The oil price was adjusted upwards by the National Assembly to $51, which is, we believe, is achievable as an average price for this year, given where we are in the current, the current price of crude oil. So we believe this increase by the National Assembly is achievable. We expect a 41% increase in terms of oil revenues as between 2017 and 2018. Much of this comes from the higher price that we're expecting. You recall that I did indicate that we're using $51 as the reference price for oil. In addition to that, we're expecting customs revenue to go up significantly. Our customs are doing very, very well, and we're expecting the revenue. And I believe a few days ago, the Ministry of Finance gave out, made a release indicating exactly the breakdown of these capital releases.
And away from that, in politics, over 1,000 members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Ovuori axis of Sapele local government area of Delta State. The incumbent members of the PDP were led by former stalwart of the party, Eze Akwomieme, in the area, who was also a councillorship aspirant in the last local government election in the state. Other former PDP leaders in the area who led the decampaigns to the Ovuori Town Square include Francis Abugo, Winston Odebala, Moyo Wike, Sunday Abuyota, and William Omamode, among others. You're still watching Superscreen's flagship news. Coming up in business, AMCON recovers 731 billion naira from bank debtors nationwide. Details in a moment. Many thanks for staying with us. Now in business news, the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, has recovered 731 billion naira from bank debtors since its inception in 2010 to December 2017. The Managing Director, AMCON, Ahmed Kuru, disclosed this at the opening of a two-day asset sales strategy retreat held in Abuja. Kuru, who was represented by the Executive Director in charge of operations, Aminu Ismail, said part of the strategy is to expand the scope of its sales strategy by engaging professionals from the real estate sector, including legal experts and regulatory stakeholders. The federal government has emphasized the need to strengthen bilateral trade relations between Nigeria and Germany. Our Minister of Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, made the appeal at the Nigeria-German Business Forum held in Lagos State. Correspondent Blessed Omonose tells us more in this report.
At the 7th Annual Nigerian-German Business Forum in Lagos, entrepreneurs, businessmen and women from both countries who converge here brainstorm on strategies to adapt to foster bilateral business relationship in trade benefits, potentials and opportunities. Addressing the forum, different speakers from both countries speak on the benefit of the bilateral relationships.
For many years, for decades, China was deemed to be the manufacturing base of the world because it had a labor cost advantage. I believe Nigeria has that advantage now. We also have the advantage of a very youthful, very entrepreneurial population. So if you didn't know why you should come to Nigeria before, if you were forced by the ambassador or the delegation, I hope now that you understand that you made the decision for the right reason. Given the size of our population, it is also important that any growth that Nigeria has is inclusive, that we carry as many of our people as possible. It is important that we build a globally competitive economy, and it is important that that growth is driven largely by the private sector.
Visits by presidents, top government officials, and business leaders of both countries to strengthen the bilateral relations between Germany and Nigeria as the largest economies in Europe and Africa, respectively. Socio-economic relations between both countries have improved significantly, and today, Nigeria is Germany's largest trading partner in the ECOWAS sub-region and the second largest in sub-Saharan Africa, with a bilateral trade volume of 3.5 billion euros in 2016. In Nigeria, 85 German companies are currently employing over 10,000 direct staff and generating more than 1 billion euro turnover per year.
The news about Nigeria is always very positive in Europe, but I'm happy that quite a number of German companies are here. Those who have been here a while are still here, and quite a few of them are coming in. So I want to assure you, like I said, that there's plenty of opportunity in Nigeria.
That will aid doing business in Nigeria.
Economic growth and recovery plan. I mean, they improved the ease at doing business, but they, I think, are the low-hanging fruits. There is more to be done, and that they know. I mean, the investment climate in Nigeria, I mean, we have seen, I mean, they climbed up 12 ranks, but they are still at 140 or so. So, I mean, there's a lot to go to reach number 1 or 2 or 3 or even 30. So that is for the government to do, and that is what the government knows.
By creating the enabling environment, this is what we are doing, making business easy for people in Lagos State, ensuring that taxes are not killing anybody, harmonizing our taxes, putting power in place like I said we are going to do. So that's it. Just once business is easily done, land matters are sorted out easily, registration of businesses are done as quickly as we can and as swiftly as possible. I can assure you that businesses will come in and then it will thrive in Lagos State.
With efforts geared towards deepening bilateral relations between both countries, the German government has been supporting market volumes in Nigeria.
Now, the Board of Internal Revenue in Oyo State has sealed over 50 companies over failure to pay 2 to 3 years of outstanding professional and business registration and renewal fees. The companies affected include conglomerates, banks, telecommunication outfits, hotels, event center, and some merchant outfits located in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Chairman, Board of Internal Revenue in the state, B.C. Ali, who disclosed this to journalists, said it is essential for business owners to develop the culture of compliance of paying taxes promptly. Still ahead on the news. Indonesia sentenced Muslim leader to death over 2016 suicide attack. Join us for details of these and more after this time out.